Hello, dear students. I welcome you to the lecture on applications of UV visible spectroscopy in organic chemistry. This is the fourth lecture. In the previous lecture, we saw the terminology that is used in UV visible spectroscopy. We saw what is meant by a chromophore, what is meant by oxochrome, what is meant by bathochromic shift, hypsochromic shift, what is meant by hyperchromic and hypochromic effect. And we saw the different bands that is obtained by the electronic transitions in UV visible spectroscopy. Now, after that, we saw the influence of solvent and its polarity in UV visible spectroscopy, and we saw the characteristic absorption of organic compounds in UV visible spectroscopy. We saw that some of the compounds are containing the sigma bonds only. So, in such compounds, for example, in alkanes, we can see the sigma star transition only. So, in such a case, the sigma star transitions are possible at 185 kilocalories per mole. So, those compounds are used as solvents. Similarly, saturated compounds containing N electrons in addition to the sigma electrons are also available. For example, we have the alcohols, ethers, where a N sigma star transition is also possible, and because of these N sigma star transition, those compounds are used as solvents, and the N sigma star transitions are observed at 185 nanometers. And coming to the compounds containing pi electrons, we saw that the carbon-carbon double bond containing compounds, where we are observing a pi star transition at 165 nanometers. Since pi star transition is a allowed transition, it is observed at 165 nanometer with the epsilon value, say it is of the order say 10,000. So, if the epsilon value is of the order say 10 to the power 4, then it is a allowed transition. And further, we saw that the progressive increase in the number of alkyl groups produces a bathochromic shift in the absorption of ethylene chromophore. That is, in the absorption of carbon-carbon double bond. We saw the reason also, how hyperconjugation is able to promote the pi star transition. And further, we saw the substituents with a lone pair of electrons. They are also promoting the pi star transition. And after that, we saw the absorption of a diene. We saw how a monoene, 1-butene, differs in its absorption from 1,3-butadiene. So, 1,3-butadiene system is a conjugated system. We saw how the conjugation occurs, and because of the conjugation, we saw that a bathochromic shift is produced. Originally, the wavelength of absorption is around 165 nanometer. Now, if a carbon-carbon double bond is conjugated to another carbon-carbon double bond, a bathochromic shift, that is wavelength of absorption, increases. Now, in a diene, the wavelength of absorption is noticed around 270 nanometers. We saw all these things in the previous lectures. Apart from that, we saw how the wavelength of absorption of some of the compounds, they differ. 1,3-butadiene, 2,3-dimethylbutadiene, 1,3,5-hexatriene, all these things are showing a difference in the wavelength of absorption in UV visible spectroscopy. A carbon-carbon diene in a cyclic system, cyclohexadiene. We saw all these things. And let us move to the next slide. We saw how a cis and trans isomer differs in its absorption in the UV visible spectroscopy. The cis isomer is showing a lesser wavelength of absorption than the trans isomer because of the difference in the transition moment. So, in a trans isomer, the wavelength of absorption is higher because the transition moment is higher. The pi electrons are easily promoted. And we saw how alkyl substitution also increases the wavelength of absorption. See, when we have a carbon-carbon double bond and if a alkyl group is attached to that, definitely due to the hyperconjugation effect, the wavelength of absorption is shifted to higher wavelength, a bathochromic shift is observed. See, if the carbon-carbon double bond is present in a cyclic system, then the remaining part of the cyclic system, apart from the carbon-carbon double bond, the remaining part of the cyclic system attached to the carbon-carbon double bond must be treated as alkyl substituents. So, just like the alkyl substituents, the remaining part of a cyclic system, alkyl part of a cyclic system in a cyclohexene or diene, it also produces a bathochromic shift. So, the remaining part of the cyclohexadiene or cyclohexene system is called as the ring residue here, alkyl residue or ring residue in a cyclic system. See, look at the structure 2. In the structure, see, we have on the extreme right, we have a decalene system where you have a carbon-carbon double bond. So, to this carbon-carbon double bond, we have 4 alkyl ring residues. Look at the extreme right structure, cyclic structure. And in the first, in the middle structure or in the cyclohexene structure, we have 2 ring residues, whereas in the bicyclic system, we have 4 ring residues. And another important thing that we have to understand in UV visible spectroscopy, especially with respect to the carbonyl chromophore, is carbon-carbon double bond, not carbon-carbon double bond is, see, when a carbon-carbon double bond is present in a cyclic system, what is the location of carbon-carbon double bond? See, look at the structure A. I have marked it with A. Look at the first structure. The carbon-carbon double bond is present inside the ring. It is present inside the ring, whereas in structure A, the carbon-carbon double bond is present outside the ring. The ethylene chromophore is outside the ring. The carbon-carbon double bond, since it is present outside a ring system, it is called as a exocyclic double bond. Automatically, if a carbon-carbon double bond is present inside a ring, it is called as a endocyclic double bond. So, first structure in the extreme left, it is we are having a carbon-carbon double bond inside the ring. It is a endocyclic system. Whereas in the structure A, we have a carbon-carbon double bond outside the ring. It is a exocyclic double bonded system. Look at the third structure. We have 2 rings A and B. Ring A has no carbon-carbon double bond. Ring B has a carbon-carbon double bond. So, the double bond present in ring B is present outside ring A. It is a exocyclic double bond. What I want to say is, the double bond present in ring B is exocyclic to ring A, not to B. Whereas look at the fourth structure, we have a diene system A, B. The double bond that is present in A is not exocyclic to the ring B, whereas double bond present in B is exocyclic to A. So, the exocyclic double bond is present in ring B only, not in A. Look at the last structure. A and B has 2 double bonds, rings A and B. So, ring A has a double bond which is exocyclic to B, and ring B has a double bond which is exocyclic to ring A. So, do you understand what is meant by a endocyclic double bond and exocyclic double bond? First structure has a carbon-carbon double bond inside the ring, so it is a endocyclic double bonded system. Structure A is a exocyclic double bond system. Among the exocyclic double bonded system, I have 3 structures: ring Look at the third one. We have two rings A and B. Ring B has a double bond which is exocyclic to ring A. Look at the fourth one. Ring A has a double bond which is not exocyclic to ring B, but ring B has a double bond which is exocyclic to ring A. And the last one has two double bonds, ring A, ring B. Ring A has a double bond which is exocyclic to ring B, and ring B has a double bond which is exocyclic to ring A. So you must remember the different types of double bonds that is present in an organic molecule. Let us go to the next structure. See, in UV visible spectroscopy, that too, when you think of the wavelength of absorption of a diene, then the dienes are of two types. One is the dienes which are present in open chain analogues or in straight chain compounds. So it is just like our 1,3-butadiene system. The dienes are present in a straight chain compound, or it may be branched, but it is not a cyclic system. The same diene component may present in a cyclic system also, cyclohexadiene, and in fused compounds like decaline. Okay, the carbon-carbon double bonds may be present, and we have our polycyclic system, just like our steroid derivatives, steroids, and we have our terpenoids. So in all these cases, we may have our diene system which is present in a conjugated form within a ring system. Suppose if the carbon-carbon double bonds are present within the ring, if the diene component is present within the ring, then look at the structure 1,3-cyclohexadiene. See, the carbon-carbon double bond is present within the ring. Both the carbon-carbon double bonds, it is a diene is present within a ring. So it is called as a homoannular diene. The wavelength of absorption is 256 nanometers. And the molar extinction coefficient Emax value is 8000. Whereas look at the next structure. You have a bicyclic system A and B. Ring A has a double bond, B has a double bond. It is a diene system. It is a cyclic diene system. Here, in the cyclic system, the Emax value is greater than 8000, but it is less than 20,000. So, the wavelength of absorption is different for the dienes when we have a homoannular diene and a heteroannular diene. Suppose if the carbon-carbon double bonds are present in different rings, it is called as a heteroannular diene. Structure 2 is a heteroannular diene. So in such cases, the wavelength of absorption differs, and we must specify whether the diene component is a homoannular diene or a heteroannular diene. Okay, so we should give an increment. Normally, the wavelength of absorption differs, so we should give an increment for the homoannular diene component. If the wavelength of absorption is see, for a homoannular diene, the base value is 253 nanometers. The base value itself differs. Whereas in the structure 2, we have a heteroannular diene. So it is just like our 1,3-butadiene system. Though it is a cyclic system, the base value is 214 nanometers. So the base value for homoannular diene is fixed as 256 nanometers, and for heteroannular diene it is 214 nanometers. Structure 2 has shows a wavelength of absorption around 240 nanometers. Now, remember these observations. We saw how the ethylene chromophore is affected by the presence of some substituents or structural modifications. When we have a carbon-carbon double bond, if it is isolated, what is the wavelength of absorption? If it is conjugated, what is its wavelength of absorption? We notice a bathochromic shift. So, if we have a diene system which is conjugated 1,3-butadiene, then the wavelength of absorption comes to the ultraviolet region, say around 240 nanometers, and we can clearly see. Okay, so we have the alkyl substitution. If we increase the alkyl substitution over the homodiene component, we saw the bathochromic shift. Further, we saw how the location of the double bonds, whether it is a exocyclic double bond or endocyclic double bond. If the double bond system is present outside the ring, then we are noticing a bathochromic shift, that is increase in the wavelength of absorption. And at last we have seen how the wavelength of absorption is different for the diene component if it is present within the ring or in different rings. A homoannular diene has a higher wavelength of absorption, around 256 nanometers, whereas a heteroannular diene, though it is a cyclic system, it resembles like that of our 1,3-butadiene system. So the base value is around 214 nanometers only. See, by making these observations, let us try to calculate the wavelength of absorption of a compound containing a double bond which is conjugated to another double bond, or a organic molecule containing a 1,3-butadiene system as part of the molecule. This work is done by Woodward and Fieser. The two scientists, namely Woodward and Fieser, they have analyzed the UV visible spectrum of many organic compounds, and based on that, they designed a method of calculating the wavelength of absorption of a diene component theoretically. That is, if the organic compound has a 1,3-butadiene system, carbon-carbon double bond conjugated to another carbon double bond, and if it is structurally modified, then you can calculate the wavelength of absorption of such organic compounds theoretically. This work was done by Woodward and Fieser, and the two people, they have framed a set of rules based on these observations, and it is given in the form of a tabular column in Silverstein-Bachelor. Please refer, and I will show you the tabular column. It is table number 5. Table number 5 in Silverstein-Bachelor. See, rules for diene absorption, table number 5. It is given in page number 313, Silverstein-Bachelor. So the first one is, first rule. Suppose if you have a heteroannular diene, the base value, that is the minimum wavelength of absorption that should be given, is 240 nanometers. The base value is the same for acyclic diene also. Suppose if it is a straight chain compound or branched compound, it's not a cyclic compound, but it is also containing a carbon-carbon double bond in conjugation with another carbon-carbon double bond. It is containing a 1,3-butadiene system. So, if it is a 1,3-butadiene system in the form of a acyclic molecule, then also the base value is given around 214 nanometers. Okay? Suppose if it is a homoannular diene, then the base value is 253. Just now we saw what is a homoannular diene and what is a heteroannular diene. So, a homoannular diene should be given a base value of 253 nanometers. So, if you are making an attempt to calculate the wavelength of an absorption of an organic compound, then according to Woodward and Fieser rule that is given in table 5, page number 313 of Silverstein-Bachelor, remember, if the diene system is a acyclic diene or a heteroannular diene, its base value is 214 nanometers. In some of the books, the base value may be given as 250 nanometers. Don't mind it. The difference of 1. Almost all the books are giving the same values. Some of the books may differ. We have Silverstein Bachelor, Kemp, okay, organic spectroscopy by Kemp, organic spectroscopy by Damani, and we have our Indian authors, organic spectroscopy by Nasipuri, Khalsi. So sometimes the compounds may differ in their data, and the data may be the difference may be a minor one. Ignore it. You can consider any one value. After considering the base value for the heteroannular diene, homoannular diene, or a acyclic diene, we should give the increments. Suppose if we have a double bond in addition to the 1,3-butadiene system, that is called the extending conjugation. In the tabular column in the previous lecture, we saw how 1,3,5-hexatriene shows an absorption. It is a triene. You have a carbon-carbon double bond in addition to a 1,3-butadiene system in 1,3,5-hexatriene system. So, we are giving an increment of 30 nanometers if we have a double bond, and if the double bond is also extending, or if it is attached to the conjugated system, it will be 1,3-butadiene, then an increment of plus 30 nanometers should be given. Suppose if you have a alkyl substituent over the chromophore, then an increment of 5 nanometers should be given. You should add 5 nanometers. Suppose if the 1,3-butadiene system is in the cyclic system, already I told you what is meant by a alkyl ring residue. The alkyl ring residue is just like your alkyl substituent. So for that also you should give an increment. The alkyl substituent or alkyl ring residue, if it is present, then you should give an increment of 5 nanometers. Suppose if the double bond is exocyclic, then we should give an increment of 5 nanometers. In addition to that, we saw that if we have polar groups, that is atoms with a lone pair of electrons, then they also produce a bathochromic shift. So in such cases, if we have polar groups, then increment should be given for the calculation of the wavelength of absorption of a diene chromophore. For example, if it is a acetate chromophore, if it is a acetate group, acetate substituent, then no increment. For alkoxy group, we have an increment of plus 6 nanometers. Thioalkoxy means plus 30 nanometers. Halogen substitution to the chromophore means plus 5 nanometers. N-alkyl substituent means 60 nanometers. Here, we need not apply any solvent correction. The reason is, if we change the polarity of the solvent, then the wavelength of absorption varies. Then only we have to apply the solvent correction in UV visible spectroscopy. Whereas in the case of 1,3-butadiene system and molecules resembling 1,3-butadiene chromophore or containing chromophore, then the pi star transition is not influenced by the polarity of the solvent. Already we have seen how the electronic transitions, namely n pi star and pi star transitions, are affected by the polarity of the solvent, and I have specified that in UV visible work, when you are recording the spectrum, we must specify the solvent that is used, because solvent polarity influences the electronic transition in UV visible spectroscopy. Solvent polarity influences the n pi star transition and not pi star transition. So, when you study about the wavelength of absorption of a carbon-carbon double bond chromophore like our 1,3-butadiene system, you need not apply any solvent correction, because solvent polarity is not affecting the pi star transition in 1,3-butadiene system or in compounds containing chromophores like 1,3-butadiene system. So let us move to the next slide. Sorry for the delay. The next slide is this one. See, here I have demonstrated the Woodward-Fieser rule with two examples. On the extreme left, you have a molecule, cholesterol 3,5-diene. It is a diene system. We have the double bonds in the two rings, namely A and B. Cholesterol 3,5-diene. The remaining part of the molecule is not shown since we are calculating on the chromophore and its wavelength of absorption. But the basic the molecule as a whole is cholesterol 3,5-diene. See, it is a heteroannular diene. The double bonds are not present in ring A or B. It is a heteroannular diene, so it should be treated just like our free 1,3-butadiene system, just like our acyclic system. So the base value is 214 nanometers. And I have indicated the alkyl residues with the help of dotted lines. See, you have two alkyl residues in ring A and ring B also we have two alkyl residues. Both ring A and B have a common alkyl residue. So 1, 2, 3. We have three alkyl residues in the molecule, namely cholesterol 3,5-diene. So 1, 2, 3. With the help of dotted lines I have indicated, that is attached to the 1,3-butadiene. So we have three alkyl residues. For this I give an increment of 5 nanometers. So 3 into 5, 50 nanometer increment is given. And look at the double bond in ring B. It is exocyclic to ring A. So I give an increment of 5 nanometers. So the lambda max calculated value is 234 nanometers. That is for the molecule, namely cholesterol 13-diene, cholesterol 3,5-diene, cholesterol 3,5-diene. See, the lambda max observed is around 235 nanometers. So we have to accept the Woodward-Fieser rule as a effective method of calculating the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound theoretically. There are some cases where the discrepancy is noted, but using this Woodward-Fieser rule, we are able to calculate, approximately we are able to calculate the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound theoretically. So we can, by doing so, we can expect the electronic transitions in that wavelength region. For this compound, the wavelength of absorption that is observed is 235 nanometers, and the Emax value is, say, it is of the order, say, 19,000. Now let us go to the second example. It is minor difference. There is a minor difference. Instead of cholesterol 3,5-diene, I have taken cholesterol 2,4-diene. Cholesterol 2,4-diene, it is also a cholesterol derivative. 2,4-diene is a homoannular diene. It is not a heteroannular diene. So the base value is 253 nanometers. And it has three ring residues. With the help of dotted lines, I have indicated 1, 2, 3. Three dotted lines are cutting the structure. So three ring residues, 3 into 5, 15 nanometers. And you have only one exocyclic double bond. Ring A has two double bonds. So it is exocyclic to ring B. I give an increment of 5 nanometers. So the lambda max value calculated is 273 nanometers. The observed lambda max value is 275 nanometers and Emax value is 10,000. So with these two examples, I am able to illustrate the Woodward and Fieser rule. So when you are observing this video, when you are listening to this video recording, please freeze the motion and look at these two structures. Work it out in a paper. Copy it in a paper. If you may not have the spectroscopic books now with you because of your inability to reach the college and get books from the library, you are most welcome to purchase a few spectroscopic books online also. See, I have given a list of books in the syllabus. The spectroscopic books are available in the market, especially the Indian author books. Applications of organic spectroscopy, by Kalsi or by Nashipuri. These two books are available readily in the market. You can purchase any one of the books. If you are able to purchase William Kemp, Organic Spectroscopy by William Kemp, well and good. And the Silverstein Basel book is a costly book. It is around, the cost of the book is around 5,000 rupees. So you are most welcome to buy at least the stereochemistry the organic spectroscopy by Kalsi or Nasipuri book through online. And if you have the book, it is well and good for the preparation of this subject, namely organic spectroscopy. It will be an asset. If you purchase the book, it will be an asset, because whenever you go for an interview in the future, you will find questions from this area only. If you sit in an interview or in any kind of competitive examination or in a Viva OC also. So it will be very useful. In the MSc level, the spectroscopy and the applications of spectroscopy in various subjects, namely inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, are very important. So please try to purchase one or two textbooks and read them. Let us see a few more examples in the calculation of the wavelength of absorption using the Woodward-Fieser rule. See, I have taken these examples from Organic Spectroscopy by John R. Dyer. It is a very old book, a small book, but the examples are given. Chapter 2, page number 20. See, I have given the structures. Structure 1, for want of time, I have not given the details of all the details of calculation for all the structures. Let us see one by one. In structure 1, it should be a acyclic diene. It should be a heteroannular diene. So base value is 250. 4 alkyl residues are there. So 20, 4 into 5, 20. And we have 2 exocyclic double bonds, 10. 244 nanometers. So this is one example. And if you, in the video recording, if you go through these slides, these slides, nearly I have solved the problem for 8 examples. See, I have calculated the wavelength of absorption for 8 compounds, and if you also practice this one, you will become thorough with the rules and regulations of Woodward-Fieser rule, by which you are able to calculate the wavelength of absorption of the organic compounds. Based on these, later on I will give you an assignment for you. So please be thorough, please practice with these structures. If you have the textbooks, well and good, purchase the textbooks. That is why I insist upon you. You may have some difficulty in understanding the online lecture, especially in solving the problems like this. So if you purchase the books, it will help you. Purchase at least one book, Organic Spectroscopy by Kalsi or Nasipuri. It will help you a lot in understanding the problems and in solving the problems. Let us see a few more examples in the next slide. So this is about the wavelength of absorption. See, the Woodward-Fieser rule is further modified. See, so far we have discussed the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound containing a 1,3-butadiene system, or a system like our 1,3-butadiene. If you have a carbon-carbon double bond, in addition to that, you should give an additional conjugation. It should be treated as additional conjugation, and increment of 30 nanometers should be given. Suppose if you have one more carbon-carbon double bond, one more carbon-carbon double bond, then what happens? See, the Woodward-Fieser rule is found to be effective in calculating the wavelength of absorption of an organic molecule if it contains less than 4 conjugated carbon-carbon double bonds. If the number of carbon-carbon double bonds exceed 4, then the theoretical calculation shows some error. It is very difficult to calculate theoretically the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound containing more than 4 carbon-carbon double bonds which are conjugated. So in such a case, the Woodward-Fieser rule was later modified, and we have another man, namely Kuhn. Along with Fieser, he proposed a new set of rules. See, the rule is called as Fieser-Kuhn rule. Fischer-Kund rule. This is for the calculation of wavelength of absorption for conjugated polyenes. See, we have our aliphatic acids. Aliphatic saturated as well as unsaturated. Unsaturated aliphatic acids. For example, we have our stearic acid, oleic acid, palmitic acid, where we have a conjugated system where the number of carbon double bond is more than 6, 8, 12, like that. So stearic, oleic, palmitic acids, our aliphatic acids. And apart from that, we have our vitamins. Vitamin A, beta carotene. So the vitamin systems are having a polyconjugated system. So we have such natural products which are conjugated polymers. And for the wavelength of for calculating the wavelength of absorption of such conjugated polymers, the Fischer-Kund rule is effectively used, and it is discussed in page number 314, Silverstein-Basler, applications of spectrophotometric identification of organic compounds by Silverstein-Basler, page number 314. So using this, you are able to calculate the wavelength of absorption of a compound containing more than 4 carbon-carbon double bonds, or we can call it as a conjugated polyene system. So for the wavelength of absorption of conjugated polyene system, the Fischer-Kund rule is used. Let us see what is this Fischer-Kund rule. See, according to the Fischer-Kund rule, the wavelength of absorption is given by a big equation. See, look at the equation. Lambda max value is given by 114 plus 5m, capital M, 5m, plus n into 48.0 minus 1.7 small n. Once again, n is coming in also. 1.7 small n minus 16.5 R endo, suffix is R endo, minus 10 R exo, suffix is exo. So let me read the equation. So based on this equation only, we are calculating the wavelength of absorption of organic compounds which are conjugated polyenes according to Fischer-Kund rule. Lambda max is equal to 114 plus 5m plus n into 48.0 minus 1.7 n minus 16.5 R x endo minus 10 R exo. And the lambda max value is E max value is given by the formula 1.74 into 10 to the power 4 n. What are these terms, namely M, N, R endo, R exo? Let us see. Small n. So n represents the number of conjugated double bonds in the polyconjugated system. So first of all, you should count the number of carbon-carbon double bonds in the polyconjugated system for which you are supposed to calculate the wavelength of absorption. It may be a vitamin molecule, it may be a beta carotene, alpha carotene, or it may be a unsaturated fatty acid. So calculate the number of carbon-carbon double bonds. If the conjugated double bonds is equal to n, calculate the number that is equal to n. The number of carbon-carbon double bonds is equal to n. And capital M stands for the number of alkyl or alkyl-like substituents. The polyene system may be a straight chain compound or branched compound, or it may be a cyclic system also. In such cases, M, capital M stands for the number of alkyl or alkyl-like substituents. So you should calculate, you should cut it with the help of dotted lines, just we have done in the case of wavelength of absorption for diene chromophore using a Woodward-Fischer rule. So M stands for the number of alkyl or alkyl substituents you have to count, and R endo R endo means R endo is the number of rings with endocyclic double bonds. We know what is a endocyclic double bond and a exocyclic double bond. Suppose if the polycat conjugated system contains a cyclic olefin system, or if the polyconjugated system itself is in a polycyclic system, then if the rings with the endocyclic double bonds must be calculated, that is your R endo, and R exo automatically is your exocyclic double bonds, that is rings, number of rings with the exocyclic double bonds. So if you have a ring with exocyclic double bond, then your R endo value is 1, R exo value is 1. If you have a system where you have endocyclic double bonds, then R endo value is 1. So it is how the values are calculated by observing the structure. N is the number of conjugated double bonds, M is the number of alkyl or alkyl-like substituents, R endo is the number of rings with endocyclic double bonds, and R exo is the number of rings with the exocyclic double bonds. So this rule is discussed in page number 314, Silverstein Bachelor. This gives you the Fischer-Kuhn rule for the polyconjugated system. In page number 314, Silverstein Bachelor, you have a example, namely lycopene, which is a vitamin A system, modification of vitamin A system, lycopene. So let us see this example, namely lycopene. Based on this example, we are going to calculate the Fischer-Kuhn rule. So this is the structure of lycopene. See, it is a polyconjugated system. I have indicated the alkyl or alkyl-like substituents with the help of the arrow marks. If you calculate them, then the chromophore itself starts from the methyl group, the carbon attached to the methyl group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, from the fifth carbon only the chromophore attached. So both the sides must be treated as alkyl substituents, both the extreme left and right. And the chromophore starts from carbon number 5 only. We have a methyl substituent at carbon number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a methyl substituent at carbon number 5, extreme left. And the other part of the molecule also treated as alkyl substituent. So the first carbon-carbon double bond has 2 alkyl substituents. I have indicated the alkyl substituents with the help of a arrow mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number of alkyl or alkyl-like substituents in this lycopene molecule is 8. And we have a total of 13 carbon-carbon double bonds. Out of the 13 carbon-carbon double bonds, 11 are conjugated. 11 are conjugated. So the N value is equal to 11. That means the 2 carbon-carbon double bonds at the extreme right and extreme left, they are not conjugated with the main part. So they should be treated as individual carbon-carbon double bonds. They are not conjugated. So out of 13, 11 are conjugated. The N value is therefore 11 for this molecule lycopene. M value is 8. Already we have calculated. There are 8 alkyl-like substituents. Please note that I have indicated the alkyl substituents with the help of arrow mark. And this is a straight chain compound, so there is no ring system. If there is a ring system in the conjugated system, then only a question of exo or endocyclic double bond arises. There is no ring system. So R exo and as well as R endo both are equal to 0. Okay. Now if you substitute the value from in the equation of the Fischer-Kuhn rule according to the Fischer-Kuhn rule, the lambda max value that is calculated is 114 N into M is equal to number of alkyl substituents. So M into 5. Here I have 8 alkyl-like substituents. So an increment of 5 nanometers will be given. 8 into 5. plus n value, number of conjugated double bonds is 11. 11 into 48.0 minus 1.7 into n again. Number of carbon-carbon double bonds, that is 11. So n value is 11. And minus R endo 0, R exo 0. So if I calculate, then the lambda max value comes around 476 nanometers. So you should be very careful in calculating the wavelength of absorption for a molecule like lycopene according to the Fischer-Kuhn rule. So please note that if you find the values and if you give increments according to the formulae, then you can calculate the wavelength of absorption for such poly-conjugated enes according to Fischer-Kuhn rule. The lambda max value is 476 nanometer according to the formulae, and the lambda max observed value is 474 nanometers in hexane, N-hexane. So it is a negligible difference, and we can accept the theoretical calculation of our method followed by Fischer and Kuhn rule for the calculation of the wavelength of absorption of polyconjugated system. See, look at the Emax value calculation also. It is 1.74 into 10 to the power 4 into n, number of conjugated double bonds. So number of conjugated double bonds is 11. So if I put the value, then I get 19.1 into 10 to the power 4. So the actual molar extinction coefficient that is observed is 18.6 into 10 to the power 4 in N-hexane or in normal hexane. So this is about the Fischer-Kuhn rule for the calculation of the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound. Now let us recall once again. The wavelength of absorption in the carbonyl chromophore. See, I have to find the correct side, please wait. Yes. So according to the Woodward-Fischer rule, the base value for cyclic diene, acyclic diene, heteroannular diene is 214 nanometers. The base value for homoannular diene is 253 nanometers. And you should give an increment for alkyl substitution 5 nanometers. If it is a exocyclic double bond, 5 nanometers will be given. And if you have the double bond that is extending conjugation, then an increment of 30 nanometers will be given. So based on this table that is given in page number 313 of Silverstein Bachelor, table 5, you can calculate the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound according to the practice that is acquired by you by solving the examples that I have given. So if you do it systematically, you can easily master the method of calculating the wavelength of absorption of an organic compound according to Woodward-Fischer rule. In the next class, we shall discuss about the wavelength of absorption of, we shall discuss the absorption of an organic compound containing a carbonyl chromophore. That is in the next lecture. So this is our lecture 4. Here we have calculated the theoretically we have calculated the wavelength of absorption of a 1,3-butadiene system. Please listen the lecture carefully and practice the example. And another humble request to you, my students, please try to purchase a spectroscopy book, at least one book. We can easily purchase a book through online order. See, the books are available. You can look for a book, namely Spectroscopy and its Applications in Organic Chemistry by Kelsey. And we have another Indian author, namely Nasi Puri. Both are professors from IIT and Indian University, Delhi University. So try to purchase any one of the books. It will be very useful in studying these subjects. Thank you. Let us meet in the lecture number 5. Thank you.